My boyfriend and I managed to get tickets for a concert. Before we set off, I accidentally came across a topic. Is it considered flirting if my crush goes to a concert with another girl? The person also attached a photo of the crush's hand. The rose tattoo on it looked very familiar. I glanced at the man who was making a travel plan for me. The rose tattoo under the couple's ring was faintly visible. I asked, "Let me see your phone." His hand, which was sliding the screen, froze. "Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day." Now the story begins. Gushing forced a smile. "Why are you suddenly turning into a jealous little thing and starting to check my phone?" I stared at him steadily. He wasn't like this. From the time we started dating in college until now, he had always been open and above board in front of me. Even when he received a flood of love letters, he never read them. He would just dump them all on me to deal with. There were so many that it seemed impossible to throw them all away. Our mutual friends would always joke that it was a pity he didn't become a star, yet such a person was extremely dependent on me. Gradually, I stopped suspecting him, but now I felt that the truth in that sentence was becoming more and more evident. No one can come out of their boyfriend's phone with a smile. He showed hesitation. The titles and conversations of the online bloggers kept replaying in my mind. My heart couldn't help but tighten. Could that person really be him? He handed me the phone, and the screen seemed normal, so normal that I began to doubt my own suspicion. The password was still the same, my birthday. I've always had a bad memory, so Gushing simply let me set up fingerprint unlocking. Soon the interface opened, and the chat record was still on the screen. "Have you arrived?" I checked the weather forecast. "It'll be hot that day. You'll abide by male virtue, right?" Then there was an emoji with hands on hips. "But even if you want to touch someone else, I can't control you. Just don't forget about my things." The tone was familiar, the unreserved emoji. It was obvious that they had known each other for a long time and had a good relationship. The avatar was a female internet picture, but the note was very affectionate. "Fool equals Zhang Xiao." My tone was calm, and my hands didn't even tremble. What does she mean by things? Gushing still used a normal tone and reached out to snatch the phone from me. I'm not just using this word randomly, because he used so much force that it seemed like he was about to crush the phone the next second. "She's a junior who just joined the research group." Gushing sounded impatient. It was very much like the times when he complained to me about having too many pursuers, but there was a flash of embarrassment and unease in his eyes. See, he knew such a conversation was inappropriate. Gushing coughed twice. "It's just a bag. Don't you remember? Aren't we going abroad this time?" Only then did I remember that this concert was not in the country. The tax rate there was quite favorable, and even my best friend, Lin, asked me to bring something for her. "I saw that you were going to buy something for Lin, so I thought it would be convenient and agreed to help her." He came over and hugged me. His well-defined features seemed even sharper. "If you're angry, I won't bring it for her. No one is worth making my girlfriend angry." Gushing rubbed against my neck, just like he had done countless times to coax me. If it were a minor matter, I would have let it go long ago. But now, I just felt goosebumps all over my body and was very uncomfortable. We still went to the concert, besides using his phone to take pictures and videos of me. He directly put it in my hands for the rest of the time. He said it was to make me feel at ease. My flustered heart gradually calmed down. Gushing got tickets for the center of the inner field. There were shouts all around, so much so that I didn't even notice the phone that was shaking in my hand all the time. That girl, it seemed, still didn't realize that I already knew about her existence, nor did she know that Gushing was introducing her in the same way he introduced me, insignificant, not worth caring about. After shouting for a few hours, we finally returned to the hotel. He put his arm around my waist and kissed my earlobe. "Baby, I'll go take a shower first." When the sound of water came from inside, I regained some strength and started to pack things. Since we were going to stay here for a few more days, I planned to take out all the things from the luggage. Before, he always took care of these things. I just needed to bring my ID card, but that girl's words kept lingering in my mind. He said he just wanted to see the singer and it didn't matter who he went with. He said if he gets tickets again next time, he'll go with me, so I'm asking everyone, do I have a chance? I clicked back into her blog post and found that she had updated a lot of information. It turned out that on this day, netizens were filled with indignation. Most of them said that it was just a crush, not a boyfriend, so why interfere? Some even dug out her school. She was a postgraduate student there. It exactly matched the girl who was chatting with my boyfriend. I didn't need to check Gushing's phone anymore. The chat records the girl posted were clear enough. She seemed to be aggrieved by the scolding and used the screenshots from the beginning to prove her innocence. They met in the school cafeteria. At that time, she had just entered the school and hadn't had time to get a meal card. The cafeteria aunt didn't believe her and thought she was an internet celebrity sneaking in to use the card. Gushing directly swiped his card for her, proving that she was a first-year postgraduate student, so the girl added his contact information under the old-fashioned excuse of repaying the money. The initial conversations between them were quite interesting. She stumbled to find topics, but the boy was very rational. He just replied with and oh, from initially refusing to communicate to later sharing some trivial things unrelated to study. The last picture in the blog post was from the first half of the year. Gushing was preparing for a basketball game and invited her to come and watch if she was free. I also remembered this game. I had to go on a business trip for a project at that time, so I could only cheer him on remotely. Before the game, he even video called me, complaining about my incompetence as a girlfriend. Now that I think about it, that girl should have been sitting in the stands at that time. Maybe she was even holding the water she bought for him. Quite a few people below had already started shipping them. I feel like I'm back to the time when I wasn't a jealous person. Am I the only one who thinks this start is like a campus love story? Could it be a clickbait post? What can a photo of a hand prove? Ah, the blogger, he must be interested in you. Keep going, it's so good. I love it. The blogger, he really loves you. I looked through them one by one and then silently saved them. I didn't even notice when the sound inside stopped. What are you looking at? Gushing came out, wiping his hair and asking me. He didn't have the delicate look after I put makeup on him during the day. Now he was still carrying the steam from the bathroom. A drop of water slid sensually from his cheek into his neck and then onto his chest muscles. He was only wrapped in a bath towel. I quietly closed my phone. Nothing. The app pushed today's gossip. He snorted. You should watch less of that. It'll mess up your mind sooner or later. I smiled, but didn't answer. Many people suspected that he was bewitched by me, because whether in appearance or personality, we were completely mismatched. But no one knew that at the beginning of our relationship. It was Gushing who pursued me first. We met in high school. As soon as he entered the school, he became the top student in the grade. With his manga-like face, he really made a splash. I would secretly pay attention to him. When I saw my name getting closer to his in the rankings, I couldn't help but feel excited. Later, as soon as we graduated, he managed to get my contact information through various channels. On the day of college enrollment, at the school gate, he was carrying my suitcase and asked me if I could date him. I asked him countless times why he was with me. He would just touch my head, then kiss my cheek and say, "Because my baby is beautiful." His illogical words would always make me laugh. Gradually, I stopped asking. Later, he stayed in school for postgraduate study, and I started working. He didn't need to worry about making a living, even if he wanted to study abroad in a country with a monthly living expense of over 100,000 yuan. It was just a matter of saying so, but I was different. My family's financial condition was poor. My mother was ill and couldn't do heavy work. I needed to work and earn money to support my family, who already regarded me as the main pillar. After entering the bathroom, I turned off the Do Not Disturb mode for the work group. Soon, a flood of messages rushed in. He heard it outside and knocked on the door. "Baby, who's sending you messages?" Maybe because he was still on campus, Gushing's way of addressing me remained the same. Even his eyes were filled with clear laughter. but I was already burdened with so much that I couldn't see a trace of my former happiness. I tried to control my tone and replied softly, "It's almost the end of the year. Some projects need to be wrapped up quickly." He didn't understand and just said, "Oh." Then there was no more sound. I subconsciously went to check that blogger again. At 1 a.m. in China, she was still awake. Yay. My crush is taking me to a music festival to make it up to me. The chat record was from a minute ago. Even when he was taking pictures and videos of me at the concert, he was also replying to her messages. I used the project as an excuse to stay outside. He had been making travel plans for a whole week. Coupled with his research tasks, he couldn't hold on any longer. "Baby, you should go to bed early too." Gushing wiped my face. "We have to get up early tomorrow." The blue-lit computer screen was bright, showing complicated numbers. I stared fixedly ahead and forced a smile. Gushing didn't suspect anything. He still kissed me and then went into the room to sleep. If it were before, he would never have allowed me to value work more than him when we were together. We didn't have much time to meet in the first place, and he always complained that I liked work more than him. But now, he didn't say such things anymore. It soon became quiet inside. I walked barefoot to the door. I could hear a voice inside, speaking softly and impatiently, "The latest gold logo model. You've mentioned it several times." The other person said something, and he chuckled. "Got it. You're such a fool." The last sentence was affectionate and ambiguous, very much like the flirting before the relationship was made clear. Soon he slid his fingers on the screen a few times, and then the screen went dark. I really hoped I could be a bit stupid at this moment. Unfortunately, I wasn't. I knew he was deleting the chat records. This man, who had never been afraid to tell me about his pursuers, was now being careful to hide her existence from me. But all of Gushing's efforts were in vain. That girl he called Fool, Zheng Xiao, had already started updating their stories on social media one after another. The chat records and content she posted today were about an academic topic they were arguing about. Zhang Xiao said that it was this topic that brought them closer. It turned out that his hypothesis was correct, therefore. Gushing's address for her had changed from the formal Junior Zheng to Fool, and Zhang Zhao's coquetry with him had gradually become a daily thing. "Help, I feel like I'm following a TV series. Can the blogger update twice a day? I'm addicted. This is so sweet." I watched intently from the beginning to the end. At this time, Gushing came out of the changing room. "Is it interesting?" He deliberately posed in a very handsome way, just like usual. He always liked to ask my opinion on everything, from food to daily life, but it didn't stop him from asking his junior, "What flavor of milk do you like in the morning?" This was Gushing lowering his head because of his over-assertiveness in study. It was also the first step of his betrayal. After that, his actions probably just came naturally, sending breakfast back and forth, celebrating and having meals together because of something, then, because they liked the same theme. They went to watch movies together. When I was stressed out by work, he shared light music with her to help her sleep. When I was busy running around for a promotion, he was huddled in the laboratory with her, working on their assignments together. Looking at the man in front of me, who already had a mature appearance, I suddenly couldn't tell who he was. Maybe he had always been himself. It was just that the true self inside was hidden too deep. I could only catch a glimpse of it now. Linlin asked me what I was doing and if I had bought the things. I directly shared the post with her. Within 5 minutes, she called me with an international long-distance call. The first word she said was a swear word. "What's going on, Mr. Perfect is cheating." Hearing her say this, I was sure of what I thought in my heart, but on the surface, I still said, "No, maybe we're overthinking it." Linlin started a tirade. After a long time, she took a breath. "I bet you're not blind. It's already absurd enough that they can communicate through social media. When we were in college together, did you see him at any of our classmates? Even I was at it only because I was your roommate and he had to take a roundabout way." Then she complained, "He was so persistent in chasing you back then." I didn't expect it wouldn't even last 5 years. They say there's a 7-year itch. He couldn't even last 5 years. I looked at Gushing's figure as he was queuing for me with a smile. It was a milk tea shop that had become popular all over the internet recently. I wondered if he would share it with his junior, or would only his own cup appear in the photo. Forget it. Men are all like this. I moved my feet and found a place to sit down. Do you really think there are good men in this world who don't cheat? Most of Lin's angry mood dissipated. Aren't you angry? What's there to be angry about? I'll just break up with him. I watched him walk over, holding 2 cups of milk tea in one hand and a melting ice cream in the other. The take-out packaging of this store was not plastic but made of paper, an environmentally friendly material, so he looked rather awkward. I smiled and said, "After all, what can be snatched away is nothing but trash that I don't want." Lin knew my temper well. Hearing me say this, she relaxed. "All right, international long-distance calls are expensive. I'll listen to you cry when you come back." Then she urged me to quickly buy the things on the list. After all, the exchange rate changes every day, and she didn't want to spend more money. She's really a true best friend. Just as I hung up the phone, Gushing was already standing in front of me. "Wait a moment." I raised my phone and took a photo. "You look handsome. You don't mind if I post it on Moments, do you?" The smile on his face froze for a moment. "What are you talking about? I'd be surprised if you didn't post it." Then he handed me the ice cream. I raised my eyebrows and asked him, "Aren't you going to take a photo?" He seemed to realize something and pushed the ice cream into my hand. "Eat it quickly. It's going to melt." I smiled and took small bites, swallowing it slowly. Unfortunately, it melted too fast and soon got my hands all sticky. It was just like our melting love. Once the sun shines, there will be nothing left. After the photo was posted, the first one to like it was my boss, Fuyan. Like Gushing, he was also the second-generation heir of a wealthy family, but the two of them were different. Gushing liked campus life and chose to pursue postgraduate study after graduation, while Fuyan took the 1 million yuan given by his parents to start a business. I was the first person he hired. At that time, I was young and full of energy. After several years of hard work, the company has stabilized. Besides the annual increase in salary and dividends, I also have more and more work. He wasn't the type to mix work and personal matters. Even though we talked every day, the conversation was always about work. He knew from the beginning that I had a boyfriend, so he kept a clear line. But now it seemed different. After liking the photo, he directly called me. Looking at the photo, "Did you break up?" His voice was not low, and Gushing could hear it. He immediately looked at me with dissatisfaction. If it were before, I would definitely have comforted him first, but today, I suddenly didn't want to do that, so I just followed his words and said, "Why do you ask suddenly? Are you going to give me breakup consolation money?" Fuyan seemed to think for a while and then said seriously, "It's not impossible." I was amused. I simply took 2 steps to the side. I didn't notice at all that Gushing's face had turned gloomy. He lowered his head and sat there quietly in the noisy environment. I didn't know what he was thinking. Before, when you showed your love, 9 out of 9 photos on Moments had your boyfriend in them. Why is there only a hand in today's photo? I thought about it and it seemed to be true. Gushing was my first love. I was responsive to him in our relationship. Moreover, ours was a campus love. After experiencing the harshness of society, I cherished this relationship very much. But now, after seeing that blog post, I changed my mind. You just reminded me I should find some time to clean up my photos. Fuyan's deep voice came from the other end of the phone. It echoed in my ears, making them feel a bit hot. Is it cleaning up photos, or the person? I was stunned and subconsciously said a few words to brush it off. Fuyan didn't ask further, just chuckled twice. "All right. I'm waiting for you to come back to work." The interns recruited recently are like headless flies without you leading them. I breathed a sigh of relief and joked with him along the lines of what he said. Only then did I hang up the phone. Fuyen and I rarely talked about personal matters so freely. This was the first time we communicated as peers. When I went back, the ice cream in Guxing's hand had melted completely. Looking over, his hands were sticky. I couldn't help but frown and said, "Why don't you go wash your hands?" He looked at me, opened his mouth. Finally, it turned into a silent smile. "You talked for a long time." There was a hint of grievance and ingratiation in his tone, but I subconsciously ignored it. He didn't dwell on this matter, as if he didn't care at all. But on the way back, he started to show his possessiveness subtly. On the flight back, I asked him, "It seems you didn't buy any special products or souvenirs for your friends." "Guxing didn't care at all. I came out with you." "Why should I buy things for them?" I twitched the corner of my mouth slightly and pretended not to hear. Outside the window were continuous white clouds, and the sunlight was dazzling. I simply put on an eye mask and pretended to sleep. Vaguely, I felt someone's gaze on my face. For a long time, Guxing didn't buy a bag for his junior. After patiently accompanying me to buy things for Lin, he returned to the country with me. I didn't know how he explained it to her. Coincidentally, Zhang Xiao stopped updating her blog for those 2 days. I even felt a bit bored. Lin even specifically asked me, "Did you confront the cheating guy?" Now he didn't even deserve to be called by his name. I shook my head, and she frowned, looking very puzzled. Fortunately, she resumed updating on the 3rd day, and Lin and I were relieved. It was like following a TV drama. If you don't see the ending, you'll always feel uncomfortable. She first explained the reason for the 2-day break in updating. It turned out that she had been throwing a tantrum for 2 days because he didn't buy her the bag. Unexpectedly, the other party didn't reply at all. She went online to ask how to break the ice and make up with him without being obvious. I thought it was quite interesting and couldn't help laughing out loud. Then I remembered that I was in a meeting. So I quickly put away my phone and sat up straight. By the time the meeting ended, it was already noon. I looked at my phone. Guxing's last message from yesterday was asking if I was free for dinner today. I thought about it and replied, "No, something should be made clear as soon as possible, otherwise, dragging it on is not good for anyone." Fortunately, the company wasn't far from his school. Before Zhang Xiao appeared in our lives, Guxing and I often made appointments for dinner. He liked to arrive early, then he would wait for me stupidly under the street lamp. He said that the area around the company was brightly lit, but there was one lamp under which he stood. I could see him from upstairs. I knew he would always be waiting for me, but now he didn't show up. And I no longer expected to see that figure. I don't know when it started, but we had drifted further and further apart. I parked the car outside and walked in slowly. The security guards at the entrance knew me. I was in charge of the communication for the cooperation between our company and the school, but every time I came, I wouldn't take the initiative to find him. Except for his roommates, no one knew we were dating. So when I appeared downstairs of his dormitory, he directly stuck his head out from the balcony to look at me. His face was full of disbelief. The girl standing in front of me was also equally shocked. She raised her head, thinking that his excitement was because of her, and her face turned red instantly. Then she shyly waved her hand and said, "Senior, I came to see you." I immediately understood and sent a message to Lin. I saw the female lead. I didn't step forward to expose them. I just waved my hand. He quickly came down. He didn't even button up his clothes properly, and his slippers were on the wrong feet. After coming down, he didn't even look at the shy junior, but rushed straight to me. "Why are you here?" I gave him a faint smile and reached up to neatly rearrange his clothes. "There's no need to be in such a hurry. Go back upstairs and change your clothes before coming down." He looked at me hesitantly, then he wanted to look at Zhang Xiao behind him. I nodded in understanding and followed his gaze. The blush on Zhang Zhao's face had faded to paleness. She was almost on the verge of collapse. She couldn't believe the scene in front of her at all. I thought about it. In Zhang Zhao's blog, It didn't seem to mention whether the male lead had a girlfriend, but judging from her not-so-surprised look, she should have known that my boyfriend had someone else. She just didn't expect that I would really come to the school. I watched her pretend to be calm and walk up. She looked at me cautiously and asked timidly, "Senior, who is this?" She was still holding on to a glimmer of hope. But I didn't plan to spare her any courtesy. I reached up my hand straightforwardly and said, "Hello, I'm his girlfriend." The light in Zhang Zhao's eyes went out with a poof, but what I said next made her almost lose her spirit. "I'm also following the updates of the crush you posted on social media." I deliberately raised my tone, acting very natural. My boyfriend immediately sensed something and subconsciously looked at Zhang Xiao. "What social media? What crush?" No wonder he was so sensitive to these points. Zhang Xiao had flirted with him from the start, saying that he was her crush. One act of being forward had made her introverted for the rest of her life. Zhang Zhao's surface calm finally couldn't hold up. She shook her head, her eyes red. "I don't know what you're talking about, sister," I sneered. I felt like the evil female supporting role in a novel, trying every means to taint their relationship. "Unfortunately, I wasn't," I said lightly. "I've seen all the records of your affair, including your chat records, thanks to Zhang Zhao's sharing, loving personality. After seeing the rose tattoo, I had been on my guard. From the first post to now, there were dozens of them. Each post had 9 records. It laid out Guxing's feelings for her bit by bit in front of me, how he was attracted, how he started to tentatively divide his heart in two. I even knew exactly what he was chatting with Zhang Xiao about when he was with me." It was extremely ironic. Zhang Zhao's face looked very ugly. Guxing's face wasn't any better. He forced a smile and was still trying to explain. "Qingjin, do you not trust me now?" I stared at him steadily and sighed. "I also really want to trust you, Guxing, but you were the one who crossed this line first." I had told him more than once that I had an extremely serious cleanliness in relationships, perhaps because of the beauty of my parents' love. I was also full of longing for my own relationship. My mother had been ill for more than 10 years, and my father still accompanied her and loved her day in and day out for 10 years. Even though the family had gone bankrupt because of the illness, my father still tried his best to make money. He worked during the day and set up a street stall at night. At an age of less than 50, he looked like someone in their 70s or 80s. I saw my father crying while carrying my mother on his back more than once, but he refused to admit it. He said he was the head of the family and wouldn't cry easily. Later, I learned that my father didn't want my mother to feel guilty, so he pretended not to care. When I started making money and the family's financial pressure lessened, my father would spread thick blankets and quilts on the tricycle and take my mother around. He said that my mother had been lying in bed for more than 10 years. Even when she went out, it was only in the yard at the door. Now that he had time, he wanted to show my mother the outside world. They had made a promise when they were young. For this promise, they had been faithful to each other for a lifetime. Originally, I thought Guxing and I would be the same. My father had taught me many things, but he forgot to tell me that some men's words are the most deceitful. "Guxing, I came here today to break up with you." Guxing could no longer remain calm. He grabbed my wrist, his eyes slightly raised at the corners, with an inexplicable stubbornness. "Impossible, Qingjin. You'll never be able to break up with me in this lifetime." I looked at Zhang Xiao, who was crying bitterly. "What about her?" Guxing hesitated. I shook off his hand and said coldly, "Guxing, a person's heart isn't big enough to hold 2 people. It's different." "What's different?" Guxing seemed to have just realized and started to explain in a hurry. "Qingjin, it's not what you think between me and her. She's just the junior I told you about. We went out for meals just because of schoolwork." I scoffed. "Guxing, you really think you can deceive me like a fool? Then what do you want me to say?" Guxing started to get impatient. "Qingjin, I really dislike you being so aggressive. Don't you realize that every time we have a conflict, you keep blaming me?" Guxing's voice was filled with pain. "Can't you really change for me?" I almost laughed out loud, but my heart was twitching with pain. I could no longer care that Zhang Xiao was still there and directly confronted him. Then what else do you need me to change for you? When you were sick, I left my meal with the client and rushed over to take care of you. In order to be worthy of you, I worked day and night to make money and negotiate contracts. I even gave up the promotion opportunity to take your feelings into consideration. But what about you? I stared into his eyes, pressing on step by step. When you chose to take the postgraduate entrance exam, you knew very well in your heart how much of it was to escape reality. Gu Xing probably felt humiliated and couldn't hold back his voice to refute me. You did all these things on your own. There's no need to put the blame on me. Tears streamed down my face, no matter how much I told myself not to be sad because of him. But hearing him say these words with his own mouth, I still couldn't help crying. This was the man I chose, the man I wanted to spend my life with. Looking at Zhang Xiao, who was watching the show, I didn't say anything more. I just gave him a hard slap. Gu Xing, from now on, you go your own way, and I'll go mine. Gu Xing's gaze seemed to be burned by my tears. He quickly mumbled, "That's not what I meant," but no matter how much he explained, it couldn't repair our relationship. Falling out of love means falling out of love. We should be more straightforward and not keep harassing. After that day, I deleted all of Gu Xing's contact information. I also moved to a new home, which was closer to the company and more convenient for commuting. Looking at the small rental house, with only my things inside, I suddenly felt a sense of stability. As if this was finally a home. Perhaps in the future, I should buy myself a small house. The news of my breakup quickly spread throughout the company. Since I no longer needed to take leave for personal matters, I started going on business trips with my colleagues. They all said that I now exuded an air of a female CEO. Maybe this was the state I should have been in after leaving Gu Xing. Fuyan also began to ask me if I wanted to have a meal together, since it's the boss's treat. It would be a waste not to take advantage. Besides, Fuyan was always generous. Whenever he treated someone, it was always at a high-end place. During the early days of starting the business, he tightened his belt, but when it came to treating clients to meals and drinks, he would order the most expensive items. I was impressed by his magnanimity. Later, I found out that the money for starting the business and for entertainment in his family was separate. The reason why Fuyan could be so generous was that the payment card was bound to his father's account. After learning the truth, I regretted it so much that it hurt. If I had known, I wouldn't have been so cautious about what I ate every time. Therefore, whenever he organized team-building activities or treated interns to a meal, I would eat heartily and accept everything offered. The situation was the same this time. "Aren't you afraid your boyfriend will get angry this time?" I grinned. "Well, we're about to break up anyway." My best friend knew about the breakup, the company knew, and the boss knew. Only the male protagonist himself didn't know, just like I didn't know his heart was wavering between Zhang Xiao and me. As the boss, Fuyan was really wealthy. He directly took me to a reservation-only Western restaurant, feeling that I didn't deserve such a treat without doing anything special. I ate with trepidation. Just as the dishes were served, I happened to run into Zhang Xiao, who is now a bit popular online, and sitting across from her was none other than Gu Xing. Fuyan saw them too. "Do you want to go say hello?" I raised my eyebrows. "Are you sure it's not to cause trouble?" Fuyan's scrutinizing eyes swept back and forth on my face. Finally, he crossed his arms, lowered his eyes, and chuckled. "You women are really heartless. You can stop loving just like that." I'm no longer a student. Looking at Zhang Xiao, who was chatting and laughing. Her face was full of youthful vitality. She wasn't extremely beautiful, but her temperament was outstanding. There was a beaming smile on her baby-faced features, making people feel warm at the sight of her. I said softly, "I was wondering what the reason for his infidelity was. Now I understand." "Oh," I smiled, then suddenly realized that the man in front of me wasn't the right person to talk about this. I waved my hand and said, "It's nothing." Fuyin stopped smiling and looked at me seriously. You don't need to be on guard against me. I was stunned and stared at him blankly. Maybe you can try to change your attitude towards me now. Don't just see me as your boss. You can also treat me like Lin Lin. When we first started the business, we didn't have regular meal times. Once, when I went out to negotiate business, I drank so much that I had a gastric hemorrhage. Lin Lin cried and stayed by my bedside. She even rushed to the company and scolded Fuyin for being an unscrupulous boss. That's how they got to know each other. Later, whenever Lin Lin heard that I had to work overtime, she would drive over to bring me food. Sometimes she would also bring a portion for Fuyin. Lin Lin liked to stay in the office with me when she was free, even though she would fall asleep while waiting. In her words, this was called spiritual companionship. Thinking of my unique best friend, I couldn't help twitching the corner of my mouth. Mr. Fu, there's really no need. After we finished eating, the lights were just coming on outside. Looking at the decorations, I realized that it was already Christmas. Time really flew. Fuyin noticed my interest and suggested taking a walk on the street. I thought about it and agreed. At first, we didn't have much to talk about. Clearly, I was his first employee, and we had the bond of starting a business together. Logically, we should have been very familiar with each other and talked about all sorts of things, but by the time we walked the whole street, neither of us had said a word. Feeling embarrassed, I was about to make an excuse to leave. Just then, someone came up to me. It was Guxing, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He was alone. When he saw Fuyin beside me, he was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled bitterly and said, "So your breakup was premeditated." I didn't want to explain too much to him. I just coldly turned my head and tried to walk past him. Unexpectedly, he grabbed my wrist. The cold temperature made me shiver all over. "I'm sorry," he said in a low voice. My heart involuntarily tightened, but he didn't give up easily. I saw Zhang Zhao's blog posts and the comments from netizens. "Now I finally understand how much those actions hurt you," he rambled on, as if he wanted to tell me all the discomfort buried in his heart. Now I've cut off contact with Zhang Xiao. I didn't ask her to delete the blog posts. I'll use them to remind myself how stupid I was back then. I still remained silent. His voice gradually softened until it disappeared. Guxing was waiting for my response, but unfortunately, he got nothing. I just stood there calmly, then turned my head to meet his gaze. His once clear eyes were now full of bloodshot, and his cheeks had sunken in, making him look haggard. But what did that have to do with me? I looked up at him and finally spoke. "Actually, you don't need to explain to me. Guxing, let's end it here." I turned around and walked forward. Fuyin caught up with me. As for Guxing, I left him behind. I will keep moving forward. Keep moving forward without looking back. The end.